Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Mero Fatemi. We got a packed show lined up for you guys today. Right off the bat, we had the Los Angeles Lakers falling to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves officially eliminating the Los Angeles Lakers in what was honestly, it was a close game, but we're going to get into this one. It was pure bully ball. It was physicality. It was big man basketball. It was man amongst boys in the, on the court last night, and especially down the stretch, especially in the second half. It was all the Lakers left it all on the court, but when you're outsized, when you're outperformed, outstrength, outmanned. I don't know if that's the right word, but in general, you know what I mean. We're gonna get into everything about that in that. We're gonna recap everything about that in that game. But from there, we're gonna take a look at the Warriors officially fall to the Houston Rockets, get blown out by the Houston Rockets in Houston. The Rockets all forcing a game six back in Golden State now, 3-2 series. Warriors still lead it, but this is a similar situation with the Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. You're allowing a young team to grow some confidence, play with a little bit extra leeway, a little extra. Oh, I can do this. I'm gonna come out and give a little bit of extra, and just grow off of that. Especially with Ime Udoka as their head coach, he will have them ready to go. He will watch that film over because it was pure domination by the Houston Rockets. The final score does not show just how bad it was, because the Warriors went on a 21-7 run with their bench players and cut the lead all the way down to about 10 points, 10, 12 points. But at one point, that lead was bloomed all the way up to 30 points. So just to put it into a little bit of a perspective. But we'll talk more about that in that segment. From there, we're going to take a look at the Detroit Pistons trying to bring the series back to New York, force a game seven. We'll preview that series a little bit later tonight. And then also we have the Clippers and Nuggets. Easily, arguably the best series of this year's playoffs. One of the best series of all time. One of the best series I've seen personally in my life. Since the only ones I can, if I'm thinking back, are the 2016 finals with LeBron, with the Cavs and the Warriors, and then maybe the Sixers and the Sixers Raptors a couple years back, if you guys remember that. Outside of that, maybe the Hawks and Sixers as well, when Trae Young hit that crazy three and the Hawks were just messing around with the Philadelphia 76ers, just coming back left and right, game after game. We'll talk a little bit more about that in that segment as well. And then to close out the show, we'll talk a little bit about Stephen Castle and the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, Stephen Castle winning the 2025 Rookie of the Year award, back-to-back Rookie of the Years for the San Antonio Spurs. Do they have the best young talent in the NBA? That is the number one question, and that is what I'm going to be looking. That's what we'll be looking to answer it during that segment. But before I move any further, I'd like to remind you guys to please like and follow the show for more GSMC Sports Network content. Also, you get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I see it, and it also really helps out the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net for all your questions and comments. But enough is enough of that. We previewed the show. Let's get into a little bit of a main course here. And boy, did we have a main course last night. I apologize for the title. I tried to think of something creative. I tried not to steal something from somebody. So this is what I got. I promise next time I do it, it'll have a little bit more of a creativity to it. But Ant-Man, frying pan, Rudy Gobert dunked the Lakers in the trash can. Wolves in 5. And that's what it was. The Wolves knocking off the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games. Last night, honestly, games 3, 4, and 5 were exactly the same. Game 1, it was the Timberwolves shooting that kept them in it, that pretty much knocked out the Lakers in that game. That when a team shoots over 50% from 3-point range and the Lakers are turning the ball over 15 times in a game, what are you expecting to happen? So it was just the shooting of the Timberwolves in game 1 that just called it quits. for the Lakers. From there, game 2, the Lakers came out. The Lakers had to win that game, plain and simple. When you're down 1-0 at home, you're about to give up home court advantage. You've already given up home court advantage. You have to go into Minnesota and most likely win both of those games just to have a 2-2 series. No, that's just not happening. That was not happening. So the Lakers had to come out with a momentum. And they shot the lights out. That was probably their best defensive performance. And the Timberwolves, I believe, shot about like 29% from 3-point range. I believe 29. It's either 29 or 37. It could be 37%. But in general, it was a low shooting percentage from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Lakers just took pure advantage of it. So that was unfortunately the only one for the Lakers, but that is how they won that one. Games 3, 4, and 5. 3, you can say Luka was sick. He was throwing up on the sideline. Cool. Game 4, much closer, but it was down to the playmaking of Jaden McDaniels, the shot making of Naz Reid, and the driving physicality of of Julius Randle. Oh, and not to mention Anthony Edwards having 43 points in game 4. So take that all into combination, put that up in the soup, mix that up all together. You got a Lakers down 3-1 in this series now. And now we go into last night. Last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves jumping out to a 23-11 lead, blooming the lead all the way up to 14 points. And I thought it was going to be over. It was a 14-point lead before halftime. I thought the Minnesota Timberwolves were running away with it. The Lakers' offense was sputtering, as always, as we've lamented about their offense all series long. Luka trying to do his thing. Luka injured his back in this one. And he tried his best to make it non-noticeable, to try and just get the team back into it, get some momentum going, try and make it so it doesn't affect him very much, try to become more of a facilitator. The problem is, who are you facilitating to? Gabe Vincent, that's shooting 0 for 3. Dorian Finney-Smith didn't have a great game either, I don't believe. Who else? What? Especially when when head coach JJ Redick decides to go 3-man deep into their bench, when you have the Timberwolves did the same, but the Timberwolves are so much deeper. There's so much of a deeper squad. You're bringing up Maxi Kleber that hasn't played in 2 months. Jared Vanderbilt, only 2 points. Dorian Finney-Smith, 7 points. Outside of their starting lineup, with Rui Hachimura with 23 points, Luka with 28 points, LeBron with 22 points, and Austin Reeves with 12 points. Their leading scorer outside of those 4 was Dorian Finney-Smith with 7. And Austin Reeves, we'll get into Austin Reeves later in this segment, but who are you facilitating? You can't facilitate the ball to any of these guys. Unfortunately, you're trying to get them open looks, but unfortunately, these guys are not shot, especially in the playoffs, especially against a defensive team like the Minnesota Timberwolves that switches so well, that is able to that they're head and shoulders in terms of depth, in terms of bench, in terms of continuity. It was on pure display all series long. They were head and shoulders above the Lakers in terms of chemistry, in terms of shot making, in terms of everything, in terms of defense and rebounding. And it was on full display last night. Now, the Lakers did try to make it a little bit of a comeback. They did try to come back in this game, make it a little bit more interesting. But especially down the stretch here, especially in the second half, when you allow Rudy Gobert, I just want to pull up the exact number before I get into Rudy Gobert. 27 points and 24 rebounds to Rudy Gobert, which we know as a defensive guy. We know he's tall. We know he's big. We know he's an athletic freak when it comes to Rudy Gobert. He's one of the most underrated guys, one of the most underrated centers in the league. But 27 points and 24 rebounds? Anthony Edwards with 11 rebounds? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The Los Angeles Lakers got frankly bullied Julius Randle, 23 points as well. Anthony Edwards didn't even have his greatest game, 15 points, 11 rebounds. So at the end of the day, when we're looking at this, we have to talk about, we have to shoot. The first thing we have to look at with this Los Angeles Lakers squad is their inability to defend the paint, their inability to rebound, and the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves were playing so physical with them. With Julius Randle looked like the second coming of a prime LeBron James last night, looking like a freight train going down the lane. Every time. His drives, nobody wanted any part of him because he's just like a freight train. He's a freight train, and nobody can handle it. And then you have Rudy Gobert on the side. This is one of the most... This Timberwolves team was incredibly underrated going to the playoffs. I said it a couple times during the show, but I knew they were one of the hotter teams in the NBA. I knew they were starting to get their chemistry together. I said it earlier in the show about a month ago. But with how the Warriors were playing, with how the Lakers were playing, with how the Clippers especially were playing, and with how deep the Western Conference was, the Minnesota Timberwolves just kind of got slid under the rug. Nobody paid attention to them. And now look at what they do. They come out, they take out the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games, a team in the Los Angeles Lakers that a lot of people, including myself, had going to the NBA Finals because I thought Luka Dončić and LeBron James would be too much for anybody to handle on the offensive end. I thought they would figure it out. I thought they had... Austin Reeves was starting to grow into a legit third option, a reliable scorer, making it a big 3 in Los Angeles. I thought it was going to be too much. I really did. But I did not... With how I've been paying attention with all the other mismatches, with all the other matchups in the NBA, for whatever reason, because the Los Angeles Lakers had that title, I just glossed over the Timberwolves. I thought the Lakers were going to win in 6 games. I thought Anthony Edwards would win them 2 games and keep the series close, most of those games. And yeah, that was just a flat-out mistake from me. I do see a comment in the chat. Andre, Reeves went from having the best third option in the league talks a few weeks ago to absolutely ghosting. Yeah, man. And I thank you for bringing that up. I almost didn't even bring up Austin Reeves. What happened to Austin Reeves? Like, Andre, you're 100% right. What happened to Austin Reeves? Austin Reeves was the third option for this team. A guy that was going off for 19, 20, could go off for 28 points, could carry the offense sometimes. We saw him in the regular season having 40-point games. And now in the playoffs, I don't think he had a 20-point game. I think his best scoring night was 19 points. Last night, in a closeout game in Los Angeles, when your team needs you most, you go off for 12 points. Come on, man. Especially, we know how Austin Reeves is. We know how lethal of a shooter he has been in the regular season. And yeah, ghosting is the best word to use. He was up in pure smoke. Nobody knew where he was in this playoff series. And I don't know if the Minnesota Timberwolves were attacking him in terms of mismatches. I have to kind of look back into this series and probably take a deeper look into what happened. But Austin Reeves disappeared. And that is going... Austin Reeves is a little bit of a younger player, so, I mean, he'll probably go down into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th reason as to what happened in this series. But, yeah, rebounding, physicality, big man bully basketball, a style that the Los Angeles Lakers use against so many teams, bullying people in the paint. And the Minnesota Timberwolves beat them at their own game. Plain and simple. This series is over in 5 games. Minnesota Timberwolves look to play the winner of the Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets series with the Warriors up 3-2. And that is exactly where I'm going. I'm going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Warriors-Rockets series. The Rockets blowing out the Warriors at home in Houston last night. This series shifts gears back to Golden State. We'll take a look at recapping this game and kind of what to expect in that game 6. I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets basketball. Don't go anywhere.